Hi, everybody. This is Mr. Walden, and today we are going to work with a style of painting that is done in Australia by the Aborigines. The Aborigines were the indigenous people of Australia, and their art has a lot of different meanings. The different animals and symbols and dot formations do mean stuff, but we don't really know a lot of those meetings because it is kept secret, and only certain tribes or people within those tribes will teach knowledge to other people. We do know some stuff. Anybody that's watching this is probably not an Aborigine, so we shouldn't try to make art exactly like theirs. We should try to make stuff for our own life. And I'm going to do a dragonfly because I grew up with the little piece of land that I would go to on the weekends, and it was just filled with dragonflies. So that's what I'm going to choose to do my artwork on. But you can choose an animal or, a truck or a motorcycle or rocket or whatever you want. Something that has to do with you, though. Something that has to do with your life. I am going to do this dragonfly again because it reminds me of my childhood and one of my favorite places to go. Keep the design simple with really simple shapes. I would try to draw larger shapes because if some people just draw small, and if you draw really small for this kind of project, it's going to be harder once I start making my dots. So draw big, fill up the space. You can use any color of paper you'd like. I really like how these look on the black paper, and I'm using a white colored pencil to sketch out my drawing because I think that's going to work the best for me. And I think I'm going to be able to see it better on this paper, but a normal pencil will work too. Now I've included a link to this sheet with different meanings for Aboriginal symbols, and it might be fun to add one of those. I added the symbol for meeting place and for traveling because I had to travel to this place where I saw the dragonflies, and it was a good place to meet family and friends. So that's what it makes me think about in my life. Now, once we have our design done, it's time to start painting. I'm using acrylic paints and I'm mixing colors on another sheet of paper that I'm putting under so I don't get my table dirty. And I am using Q-tips or cotton swabs to make my dots. I'm dipping them in my colors I make and then just putting one dot at a time. Now, this is the fun part. We get to experiment mixing colors a lot. If you have a dark paper, it might be nice to use some light colors. If you got a light paper, maybe use more dark colors. But I'm going to keep making dots. Now, I want those dots close enough to each other that they still look like lines, but I don't want them so close that they're touching, because then you just get kind of like this fuzzy line, and it doesn't look like dots anymore. So they should be close enough to each other that it still makes lines, but far enough from each other that they're not touching. Takes a little bit to get used to. Another thing I see sometimes is students just trying to, when they do these, they try to color in a big area with one color. And most of these paintings were lines of colors, lines of dots. So kind of stay that way. What I see sometimes when students try to do that is they're not really looking at what they're doing and they're talking to their neighbors or something. And their dots start to get these kind of comet tails on them because they're not really paying attention. So don't do that. These are very deliberate paintings. They take a lot of perseverance, but they can be a lot of fun. So, and it's what I like the best about this is I really get a chance to experiment mixing colors because you're going to need a lot of different colors when you make these. Now, when you make these and you're mixing colors, there's one thing I do want you to think about. We're not using necessarily what's called local color. Local color is when, sky is only in blue, the grass is in green. We're really playing with colors. Dragonflies aren't generally all of these different colors at once, but that's okay. We can do that when we make our dot paintings. That'll be just fine. we don't use local colors. These are kind of stylized paintings. I like to sometimes go around the shapes with one color, so I do a line of one color around a shape, and then I switch colors and do another line around that first line, and then another color around it again. So I get these rings of colors, and I really like doing it that way. I think they look better than just trying to fill in one color. So make lines of colors going around and going on the inside of whatever you're drawing to fill in the space that way with different lines of color, lines of dots. Now, I usually start with my primary colors, with a palette with my primary colors, red, yellow, and blue, and then I have black and white. And with that, I can mix any color I need to. I mix my primary colors to get my secondary colors, orange, violet, and green, and then black and white to make shades and tones that make it darker and lighter. Black and white are not really colors. If I mix white in with blue, I've still got blue. If I mix black in with blue, I've still got blue. They don't change the colors. They just make it darker or lighter. Shades are colors when you mix in black. They are shadier. That's the way I think about it. They're a little bit darker than the original color. And tones are colors that are made by mixing in white. They're lighter. So shades and tones. If I mix in gray, that's by mixing in black and white, I get a tint. That's just a little bit of art terminology for this. So we're going to make different shades, tones, and tints as we experiment mixing our colors for our dots, as we make rings of dots going across our paper. Stick with it. It can feel like it's taken a long time to make something like this, but I bet you'll really be happy if you put forth the time and persevere to make these rings of dots going around and around and around our different things, our different things from our own lives that we are making dot paintings of. So artwork like this has been made by the indigenous Aboriginal people of Australia for thousands of years on different trees and rocks and, in the desert parts of Australia. But the paintings they've done like this have only really started to be popular in about the 1970s. And now they will start to go for big money at galleries if an indigenous person does them. Again, we are doing stuff from our own lives where you don't know the meanings, some of the meanings that these dot paintings would have for the indigenous people of Australia. So we should do something for our own lives, from our own lives, when we do this, just like I did for this dragonfly that reminds me of my childhood and a place I still go to. So stick with these. I really love these kind of paintings. I can't wait to see what you're going to come up with, what you're going to come up with for your life to do your paintings out of. And I think you're going to have a lot of fun with this. So I can't wait to see yours. I really hope you enjoy it. And I will talk to everybody soon.